And now, tonight's presentation over radio's outstanding theater of thrills, brought to you by Leigh High School's very own thespian troupe, number 7618. Suspense! Tonight, the story of two people and the terror that rode with them in the city. We call it Backseat Driver. So now, starring Miss Aleia E and Mr. Matthew S., here is tonight's suspense play, Backseat Driver.
It can't happen to you. Read about this stuff in the papers. Girls murdered and mutilated. Drunks lying dying in the gutter for a handful of change they had in their pockets. Lonesome old men tortured because some hoodlum gets the idea that they're misers with a pot of gold hidden underneath their floorboards. Sure, you know it's real, but it can't happen to you. Oh, you get your fair share of trouble. I've been a professional man here in Los Angeles for 20 years. I met up with bums, grifters, petty sharpers. They're around in any business. But that viciousness, that real deep down dirt, that's for somebody else. For something else. You do your work, and you go home to your family. And for a real bang-up evening, just to break up the monotony, you take your wife out for a movie. At least, that's what I did Saturday night. We've driven all the way in the San Fernando Valley to the Beverly Hills for a picture Ellie especially wanted to see.
Wasn't that a good movie, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Just the kind I like. Songs and dancing and girls in pretty clothes. Ugh, I get so tired of cops and robbers.
And what is wrong with cops and robbers?
You know what I mean? Murder movies, honestly. All the policemen stupid and all the crooks sneering out of the corners of their mouths.
Yeah, the stuff those Hollywood boys dream up. You think these streets would be knee-deep in blood and couldn't hear yourself think over the machine gun fire. Here we are, honey.
Well, you get in first, honey.
Okay. I don't think your door's closed tight there, sweetie.
Oh. Oh, don't forget about the gas.
I got a plane to take us out to the valley. I fill up at Bill's.
Mm-hmm. Remember how that song goes, Joe?
What song?
In the picture, you know, Two on the Moon, the one the boy sang to the girl.
That one. Okay. Let's see. Hell, I don't know.
Oh, well. We'll hear it again on the radio.
How about turning it on?
The radio? Why, sure.
Can you say to KNX for me? We got to hear some news in a few minutes, and I'd like to hear whether they caught the fella.
Ugh, that awful mass murderer.
Mm-hmm. They spotted him in LA this afternoon, but I think he got away.
I know. You told us at supper. Ugh, makes you shiver.
Don't worry, he won't get away with it. We left the lights of Beverly Hills behind us. I turned into Coldwater Canyon. It was the quickest way as any to get across the Hollywood Hills and into the valley. It's dark in the canyon, quiet, with mighty light traffic at night. I flipped up my lights and we swept up the side of the ridge. The news program came on, but I didn't pay much attention to it. The fellow was talking about bushfires. They'd already put out the one near my place, though they were still patrolling it. We were over the ridge and sliding down to the valley before the program got to the part where I wanted to hear.
The latest news on the New Hampshire murder.
Oh, there it is.
Put up a little bit higher there, Ellie.
2 weeks ago, Lewis Mattrick wiped out an entire family in Greenleaf, New Hampshire. Today, he was spotted 3,000 miles from the scene of his crime. At 5:30 this afternoon, a patrolman saw and definitely identified Mattrick in downtown Los Angeles. However, by darting through heavy traffic at the risk of his life, the killer was again able to make his escape. According to neighbors of the slaughtered family, Mattrick first appeared in Greenleaf about a year ago. From fingerprints in the Noland home, Lewis Mattrick has been identified as Lloyd Matthews, ex-convict. He is wanted for questioning in the robbery and murder of a New York storekeeper a year ago, a crime that netted the killer less than $70. Mattrick, or Matthews, is 32 years old, height 5 feet 9 inches, weight 155 pounds. He has blue eyes, light brown hair, and his nose is slanted to the left. When seen this afternoon, he was wearing a blue suit and gray pork pie hat.
Awful. Just awful.
Not pretty, no.
Somewhere around LA this minute. Joe? Do you think it's right, us leaving Annie and Bud all alone while we go
Ellie,
and watch it?
Come on. Annie's all grown up and Bud can take care of himself. You can't wrap those kids in wool, sweetie.
I know. I'm silly, I guess. Neighbors close all around, all they'd have to do is yell. Joe, what would make a young man do a dreadful thing like that?
Could be a lot of things. Maybe he's got a screw loose. Maybe he went nuts over some girl. Maybe he just gets a kick out of killing like some of them do.
You know all of the answers, don't you?
Hey, what the?
Joe!
Keep going. Go on. Keep going. I got a gun here, and I'm not afraid to use it. Now, just keep going like this, and no tricks. Otherwise, I'm gonna blow a hole right for your wife's head. I've had some experience in these sort of things.
You are listening to Backseat Driver, tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Hello, I'm Maggie, and I play the announcer and Miranda in Backseat Driver. I'm also a thespian officer for Leigh's very own thespian troupe, number 7618, and I'm here to invite you to view our end-of-the-year senior showcase. This showcase features the wonderful talent and skill and hard work of our class of 2021, ranging from dazzling musical numbers to hilarious scenes and so much more. You might even recognize a few familiar voices. So be sure to support my fellow seniors and your fellow Longhorns on Friday, June 4th at 7 p.m. More information is coming soon, so keep an eye out for updates at leightheaterarts.com and the Leigh Troupe Instagram page. We'll see you there. And now, back to your program.
And now we bring back to our Leigh High School soundstage Miss Aleia E. and Mr. Matthew S., starring in tonight's production, Backseat Driver, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I drove the car like we're skirting the rim of the Grand Canyon. Nothing between us and the bottom but a mile of country air. This was it. The thing that happens to other people. To the ones that end up on slabs in the morgue. But not to me. No, not to Ellie. The first car we seen since we left traffic swooped down behind us. It passed, but not before the headlights caught our passenger clean in my rearview mirror. He was hunched forward, sitting on the edge of the back seat so he could keep a gun rammed to the nape of Ellie's neck. He had light brown hair, pale blue eyes, and a nose that slanted slightly to the left. His mouth twitched, jittery. As the car went by, his eyes caught mine in the mirror and flickered.
Keep your eyes on the road.
Sure. You lose your hat?
Bright boy, huh? Like I said, you know all of the answers. Nah, I didn't lose it. I stuffed it down a drain.
You're still wearing the blue suit, though.
I figured to change pretty quick now. You think yours will fit me?
You can have the suit. And the car, just let us go.
Ellen!
But Joe, it's Mattrick.
Mrs. is pretty bright too.
He crawled in here while we were in the movies. Joe, you should have had that car door fixed. You know better.
Honey, I meant to. I was going to attend to it, and then...
Shut up! Let's see if you can both be bright enough to keep your traps shut. Turn left on Ventura and take the slow lane. Don't try playing no tricks. I've been here before.
Okay by me.
That's real white of you. Straight out to the open country, Mac. And then I'll take up the missus on that offer. The suit and the car.
What happens to us?
Why, you just walk home. What else? Play it safe, and you ain't got a thing to worry about.
That was a laugh, that was. Nothing to worry about. Once we got out into open country, we didn't have a chance of walking away from that car. All a murderer can hope for is time. He doesn't leave a witness around to get the law on his tail 1 second sooner than necessary. All I could do was stall, and pray, and make what feeble gestures I could at Lady Luck. The thing that came into my mind was so risky it brought my hair up on end. But there was a chance, provided that trigger finger didn't start jerking. In the bright lights of the boulevard, I didn't think he'd notice, but a traffic officer just might. I turned to Ventura and took the far lane, obedient as a whipped pup. We must have made 2, maybe 3 miles before I heard what I was hoping for.
What's that?
It's an ambulance, I guess. We hear a lot of them here in the valley.
That ain't no ambulance. It's a motorcycle cop!
Joe? It's young Mike Kennedy. He patrols this stretch.
Look, what are you up to? What are you trying to pull?
Nothing. The kid's a friend of ours.
You think you can get me that easy, huh? I warned you. I ain't going alone. You asked for it!
Listen, will ya? The kid lives near us, practically grew up under our feet. All he wants to do is pass the time of day, maybe send a message to our Annie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start popping now and we're all dead. Keep your shirt on, I'll get rid of him.
Okay, but buddy, it better be good.
I pulled over to the curb and Mike came up alongside. He sat balancing the bike between his knees. The grin on his face at least a mile wide. It had worked. Well, at least we were still alive and Mike wasn't 2 feet away. But where do I go from here? I had to think, but my brain was like wet wool, my tongue sticking to the roof of my mouth.
Good evening, sir.
Well, what do you know if it isn't Uncle Joe?
Something funny, kid?
Well, after all the times you've read us the riot act about observing the letter of the law... Oh, brother, wait till I tell Annie.
What's the matter with you, Mike? I didn't notice anything wrong.
Oh, hi, Aunt Ellie. Nothing much the matter. Just Uncle Joe here proceeding sedately out the boulevard with his headlights up full.
Headlights? Ah, by golly, that's right. I must have forgot to dim them.
Well, we oughtn't to forget these things. Someday a big bad cop might come along and haul you off to the stick. Oh, hello.
This is our new neighbor, Mike, Mr. Anderson.
That right? Well, glad to meet you, sir.
Oh.
I didn't know there were any vacancies out our way.
Well, there weren't. Until recently. Mr. Anderson has taken the Charles's place.
The Charles's place? No, you're kidding.
Nah. At last, it looks like things got too much for old man Charles. He's clearing out for good.
Kinda sudden, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's too bad. For old man Charles, I mean. Mighty nice for Mr. Anderson, though. Good places are hard to find these days. All right, Uncle Joe, I'll let you off this time. And give my love to Annie.
Mike?
Yes, sir?
Watch it.
Nothing. Never mind. Come see us soon, boy. It's always glad to have you.
Oh, thanks. I'll be around my next night off.
Got a date with Annie.
Well, so long.
Yeah, that was that. Mike headed back down the boulevard. The chance had come and gone. Felt like half my mind went off of that boy yelling at him. Must have been a minute, maybe 2, before I could pull myself together and ease back into traffic. Nobody said anything. I didn't dare to. Neither did Ellie. I couldn't see her, but I could feel her, holding herself stiff as a ramrod, scared even to turn her head. When 2 people have lived together as long as we have, each one tends to know what the other one's thinking. I went back to driving, and praying. That and cutting my eyes up to the mirror, just in case there might be a white motorcycle eye following us. There wasn't, of course. In the back, I knew he was watching too, those eyes darting like lightning between us. He was too busy checking to talk. Not that that helped much. Rage and fear pouring out of him so thick you could have grabbed a hunk of it out in the atmosphere with your hand. It was queer to drive along like that in a crowded highway. Traffic screaming both ways. Lights from drugstores, cocktail joints, and eating houses blazing into the sky. And to know if I lifted so much as a finger for help, I'd sign our death warrants. It had to be luck. All luck. There was still a chance I'd get it. The way I'd figured it, we started out with just enough gas to get us back to Bill's station. When we hit that, the meter had to show up empty. The gas gauge was hidden from me by the rim of the steering wheel, but I was pretty sure I was right. I waited until I saw the red and green lights above Bill's pumps a block and a half away, and then very slowly, very easy, I slumped over for a peek at the gauge. I leaned just a little too far.
Sit up!
Yeah, sure.
What now? What were you looking at?
I was easing a crick out of my neck.
Yes, you was. You were looking at the dash. You were... Oh. So that's it, huh? You're fresh out of gas.
Now, look, I just remembered it.
Don't give me that. You do it all along. From now on, you keep your hands on the wheel, Mac, but let me do the driving. Turn into that filling station, get high-test gas, and fill her up.
Hi, Joe. Evening, Ellie.
Hey, Bill.
Evening, Bill.
Oh, evening, sir.
Yeah.
Up to the top?
Yeah, Ethel.
Ethel it is. I hear y'all been to the pictures lately.
Yeah.
You people know everybody in the whole goddamn valley?
Well, we've lived here 20 years, back when this was farmland. Of course we know lots of people.
Oh, I don't like it. Just get 5 and get the hell out of here.
Make it 5, Bill.
Okay. Say, I was up to Miranda's for supper.
How's that right?
Boy, her chili gets better every time. Don't see how it can, but it does. She's saving some for you, you know? Said you'd be around after the show.
Oh my. I saw Miranda this afternoon and told her we'd be by for sure, Joe.
Well, that'll be $5.75 on the nose.
$5.75. Here you are, Bill. Take it easy.
What was that all about? That Miranda stuff?
Nothing much.
Come on. I gotta ask you everything twice.
Miranda runs a drive-in up the road a ways. On show nights, we usually drop in for a carton of chili to take home.
I just hope she won't call home when we don't show up and get Annie all worried.
Wait a minute. Drive-in, you said?
Yeah.
And this Miranda could start checking on you.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. It's just that...
She could call your Annie. And between the two of them, they have the cops on the lookout for you before midnight. Huh.
God, you're crazy.
Yeah, like a fox. I ain't kept ahead of the pigs all this time by taking chances. We'll just pick up that chili, Mac.
You want me to go to Miranda's?
Why not? Let Annie get her beauty sleep. I can cover a lot of ground before tomorrow morning. Also, I ain't eating so good lately either, so I can use the food too. And with you and the missus to front me, what's to worry about?
Well, he was right about that. I went back to driving and praying. Miranda's placed one of those goldfish bowls, mostly glass, with light pouring across the space marked for outside services. She saw us pulling up and grabbed a quart carton off the back shelf and hustled towards the door.
Here you are, Ellie. I was just saying to Betsy better fix up that chili, Betsy. It's about time Ellie and Joe were showing up, figuring the distance from Beverly Hills. Oh, who's that in the back seat? I don't seem to recollect your face, young man. Though anybody'll tell you, I never forget a face.
Well, this is Mr. Anderson, Miranda. He just came out from the east.
Oh, is that a fact? Say, Joe, you planning to go straight up Ventura home?
Why, sure.
Well, don't you do it. Go the back way, even if it does take longer. Of course, that brush fire between here and your place is out, but there's still 50, 60 men patrolling it.
What's that?
But that ain't nothing to what's going on further out the valley. That new fire's clean out of control, licking up hundreds of acres. They've been sending truckloads of firefighters past here all evening. The road's blocked for miles, they tell me.
The road is blocked?
For miles, they tell me. All them poor ranchers losing their homes. Being from the east, mister, you wouldn't understand, but brush fires is awful things once they get out of control.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Joe. Suppose we start moving, huh? Let's take the back way to your house.
To our house?
What say? You staying with Ellie and Joe?
Yeah, until the road, or until I can get into my own place. Well, what are we waiting for, Joe?
Good night, Miranda.
Good night.
Well, goodbye. Be sure you come see me, Mr. Anderson. I'll be looking for you.
So there it was. We weren't going to the country. We weren't going to be left to rot at the foot of a cliff or buried deep in a bush. No, we were going home. Home to the kids. And taking a murderer with us. I still couldn't see Ellie, but I could feel her, tensing up as tight as a pulled drawstring.
Mr. Mattrick, you didn't mean what you said, did you, about coming home with us?
Do you know a better place I can hide out until the road's open?
It wouldn't be safe. We got neighbors close all around. If somebody'd see
Nobody's gonna see me. Nobody better.
Joe, couldn't we go around the fire?
Yeah, we could. That'd actually be better. We could try anyway. There's roads through the valley, you know, and... Listen, Mattrick, we'll nose around and find a way through somehow.
Cut it out! You heard the old biddy. Hundreds of acres burning, firefighters, and cops. Get off the highway. We're going home.
No, I won't have it, Joe. You stop the car right here.
Shut up!
You heard me, Joe. I won't have him in my house, not with Annie and Bud.
I said shut up!
Ellen!
Stop it, I tell you. It doesn't matter about us. It's the kids. I won't let him touch them.
One more word out of you, and I'm gonna...
No, stop!
Ellen! Shut up!
Oh, Joe.
Ellie, I'm sorry. I don't say another word, please. Mattrick is the boss, and we gotta do as he says.
Yeah, that's telling her. Sure, you do like I say, and everything's gonna be rosy. You got no call to worry about the kids. I like kids. As long as nobody gives me the brush off. We'll wake them up as soon as we get home. You and Miss Annie can fix up a chili supper for us. Then we'll have a picnic. And as soon as the fire's out, we all take a nice long trip to the country. And then we'll have another picnic.
You keep going. As long as you're breathing, you keep going. Even when it looks like there's no way out, you hang on by your toenails. We poked up and down those Black Valley streets that twist and turn and sometimes wind up in dead ends. Ellie had stopped crying after a while. She slumped down with her head rolled back against the seat, limp as a rag doll with the stuffing leaking out. It took a long time, but it had to come to an end. I saw the bulk of the house looming up. There was light sneaking out around the edges of the blinds up in Annie's room. She wasn't asleep after all. She'd probably be sitting up in bed, plastering red stuff all over her fingernails, dreaming, probably with a date with Mike. Bud's room was dark. He was wrapped up in covers like a cocoon, dreaming whatever boys dream of. I couldn't remember. I pulled up to the concrete walk I'd poured with my own hands, before there was any Annie, before there was any Bud. And then I cut the lights. In a second or two, my eyes got used to the dark. I could make out the high hedge Ellie had planted around the place, our roof rising up beyond it.
Out, missus. Face the house. Now you, Mac. Slide out the same side and stand beside her. All right. Walk to the front door. Slow. No funny business. I'm right behind you.
Look out, Joe!
Get down, Ellie!
I'll kill you! I'll kill you! Ah!
Hold him, boys!
It's okay, Mike. I got him.
You alright, Uncle Joe and Ellie?
Ellie, you alright?
All right, indeed. Smack flat on my face on a concrete walk and you falling on me.
There's nothing wrong with her.
Oh, that's my girl.
Well, don't just stand there. Help me up.
Here. Ah, there we are.
Gotta get in the house before the kids come busting out here. I won't have them mixed up in this.
How's he doing, boy?
I got him through the gun hand in the right shoulder. See?
Lucky shot, cop. If you weren't so lucky, you'd all be cold meat by now.
Maybe. Mattrick, isn't it, Uncle Joe?
That's him. Miranda described him to you.
Mm-hmm. The old girl doesn't miss a trick. She even knew you were taking the back way home. You left a clear trail, Uncle Joe. That's slick work.
I just had to get him out of the car before the fireworks started. Ellie didn't stand a chance. She helped, though. Ellie catches on quick.
I'll bet.
Mean guy like Mattrick, you make him think you don't want him to do something, and he'll break his neck doing it. I let on how I was trying to run out of gas, and that's what got us to Bill's. Then we both made out that there was no sense in going to Miranda's, so we get bullied into going to Miranda's. It was 1,001 shot she wouldn't run off at the mouth about bushfires and scare him into hiding. After all that, all Ellie had to do was turn on the hysterics, and he was dead set in coming here.
Yeah. Bright boy. Just like I said.
Bread enough. You did alright too, Mike. I was watching the rearview mirror the whole time you were trailing us, but you never showed.
You knew I was right behind you, though. When one officer starts double-talking another officer, he wants to know why.
What officer? What double talk? You never said a thing to him except that I bought some place out here.
Yeah, the Charles's place.
Yeah, old man Charles. In a tough spot moving out for good.
What's wrong with that?
Mattrick, didn't your mother ever tell you it wasn't smart to take up with strangers? Maybe I better introduce myself. My name is Charles. Joe Charles, detective in homicide. I was off duty, just taking my wife to a movie.
Suspense!
In which Mr. Matthew S. and Miss Aleia E. starred in tonight's presentation of Backseat Driver. This episode is produced by Leigh High School Performing Arts. It was directed by Rylie S. and edited by Quentin T. Tonight's script was written by Miss Sally Thorson. Featured in the cast were Sam B., Esther H., Maggie M., and Erik S. We thank you for tuning in.